Hello, my name is Adia Walford, and welcome back to my podcast. In this episode, I'll be going over specific episodes of Creeped Out and explain how they connect to digital folklore. My main point is that these episodes kind of work like modern folklore. They teach lessons like traditional stories do, but instead of using monsters or magic, they use technology in real life situations that people today actually deal with. The first episode I'll be talking about is Season 1, Episode 1, Marty. This episode's about a girl named Marty who's pretty quiet, smart, and pretty just feels like she's just really invisible at school. She doesn't have a lot of friends, and she struggles a lot with fitting in. At the beginning of the episode, she's dealing with normal teenage school stuff, like being ignored, feeling left out, and she just really wants people to notice her, especially the popular kids in her school. One day, she finds this weird device that looks a lot like a phone or a tablet, but it's not really a phone or a tablet. It lets her basically change things in her life by making choices through the phone. At first, she thinks it's a good thing. She uses it to make small changes like becoming more confident and getting more attention, and for a while, it actually makes her life a lot better. But then, she starts using it more and more and more, and the changes begin getting out of control. Eventually, she stops relying on herself and just depends on the device to shape everything in her life. That's when things start going wrong. The device takes over, and she realizes she can't undo what she's done. By the end of the episode, Marty learns that trying to change yourself just to get people to like you, especially through something like technology, 9 times out of 10 doesn't end well. This episode connects to digital folklore because the monster in the story isn't actually a monster, it's technology. In older traditional folklore, you usually see magical creatures or cursed objects that cause problem, but this episode kind of replaces that with a modern device. It also connects to real life issues like identity and social pressure, especially with social media. A lot of people today, especially kids or teenagers or just younger audiences in general, feel like they have to change themselves to fit in or be seen, or just to make friends and have people like them. So I feel like this honestly is really relatable. Overall, I feel like this episode shows that folklore doesn't disappear, it just kind of changed. Instead of being told around a campfire, it's now being told through shows like Creeped Out, which is basically what makes digital folklore. The next episode that I'll be going over is Season 1, Episode 6, called Slapstick. This episode follows a boy named Caleb who really wants attention and popularity, especially online, just like the other episode. Caleb thinks that going viral is the only way that people notice you or for you to matter. At the beginning of the episode, he's trying to make funny videos, but nothing really works, and he feels like he's being completely ignored by other kids. Then he meets this strange, mime figure that's connected to this creepy comedy show. The figure introduces him to a kind of humor that's based on physical pain and exaggeration, called slapstick comedy. At first, Caleb's into it. He thinks it's funny. He thinks he'll finally get people to give him attention and to notice him. But he starts doing more and more extreme things to make people laugh and get views. And it works. He becomes really, really, really popular. But then, like always, things start to get out of control. The stunts get more dangerous, and it stops feeling like something he's choose to do. It's almost like he's trapped in it. Like he's supposed to be doing it. He's being forced. And the line between just regular performing and actual real pain starts to get crossed. And I feel like by the end of the episode, he realizes that chasing attention like that can eventually take over your life in a really, really unhealthy way. I feel like this episode connects a lot to digital folklore because it shows that younger audiences are really impressionable. Younger audiences are really, really impressionable because they don't know, honestly, what they're doing is wrong. They just know, okay, hey, I'm doing this and it's getting me popularity. I'm doing this and it's making people like me, so they think they want to keep doing it. And I feel like that's a real common theme in digital folklore or different digital folklore horror stories where a kid finds a scary internet monster and the monster tells them, hey, I want you to harm yourself. You should harm yourself. If you do this, you will get this sort of outcome. And 9 times out of 10, a lot of kids do it because they are so easily impressionable, which leads to them hurting themselves and other people around them. And I feel like that really connects to digital folklore, because it shows that the modern monster isn't just a creature. It shows like the pressure of social media and how online attention can get to you. And instead of fighting a physical demon or a physical creature, Caleb is dealing with a lot of consequences of trying to go viral. It turns something that's completely normal today, like wanting likes, views, attention, to be famous and kind of live the it life, into a horror story, which is what makes it feel like modern folklore, because it's telling you a story that has a consequence, is teaching you a lesson. When you put both of these episodes together, you kind of start to see a pattern. Every story has a young character, a normal everyday situation, and then boom, technology ends up being the thing that creates conflict or fear or harm. And instead of traditional monsters, Creeped Out uses technology as the modern monster. Another episode that I felt really connected to my project is Season 2, Episode 6, Hallows' Eve. This episode is about a boy named Hugo who struggles a lot with fear and anxiety, especially around Halloween. Unlike other kids in his neighborhood or his friends who get really excited about scary costumes and haunted houses and treats, Hugo's the opposite. He gets really overwhelmed and has a hard time dealing with anything that's unpredictable or unknown or creepy. At the beginning of the episode, Hugo is already shown as someone who avoids scary situations as much as possible. He doesn't really enjoy the idea of Halloween, and instead of trying to face his fears, he tends to shut down a lot or try to find some way to escape them. But things start to change when he discovers a strange online game connects to Halloween myths and folklore. At first, the website feels like a normal game. It almost seems like it's designed to help him get over his fears. Hugo thinks that if he follows the rules, he can avoid scary outcomes and stay safe. But as the episode continues, it becomes clear that the system is not really helping him. It's actually testing him. Instead of protecting him from fear, the game begins to put him in situations where he is forced to confront it. Each challenge becomes more and more intense, and it stops feeling like a game and starts feeling real. Hugo realizes that he cannot control what is happening anymore, and the fear he's been trying so hard to avoid starts following him more and more. By the end of the episode, Hugo learns an important lesson. Avoiding fear does not make it go away. In fact, the more you try to escape it, the more power it has over you. The episode shows that fear is something that you have to face in order to understand and overcome it, rather than running from it completely. I feel like this episode supports the argument that children's horror media can actually be helpful for kids and not only harmful when it comes to emotional development. It takes fear, something that normally feels negative, and turns it in a way for kids to understand themselves better and think about how they react to stressful situations. When you put all of these episodes together, you start to see a pattern. Every story has a young character or normal situation, and then technology ends up becoming the thing that creates conflict or fear or anxiety. Instead of traditional monsters, these episodes that I've chosen use technology as the modern monster. The characters aren't dealing with ghosts or creatures. They're dealing with devices, social pressure, digital consequences. And that's what makes it a form of digital folklore. It still follows the same structures, old storytelling or traditional storytelling. It has characters, conflicts, teaches a moral lesson at the end, but it's updated into today's world. Well, that's the end of this episode. Thank you for listening, and tune back in for next week while we do a deep dive on the 2 hit children's horror shows, Are You Afraid of the Dark and Goosebumps.